And welcome back to Mr. Holloway's Foundational Python Skills series. Today we're going to cover conditional statements or if statements, and we're going to cover a number of topics in here, and we're going to just cover the basics. So if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like as a reminder, and also go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And class is now in session. All right, so we're going to start out with just the foundation of an if statement, and that foundation is a Boolean expression or a conditional expression, and we're going to look at this right now. So I'm going to do that by using the print statement. Okay, so what I want to do is, if you know anything about Booleans, Booleans are true or false statements. And so a Boolean value is either true or it's false. It's only two values. And so I want to evaluate this expression. So I'm going to put an expression inside of the print statement, and I'm going to say 4 is less than 8. And let's see what we get. So this should evaluate to false. I'm sorry, true. Let me clear this. Okay. So this should evaluate to true, and if we wanted to change it to false, I would change that to greater than, and that is a false statement. We'll go ahead and run it, and we get false. All right, so that's a Boolean expression. We can also evaluate something like this. We could say 4 is equal to 8, and if you know this, this is the comparison operator. It's a double equal sign. And we could just go and run this, and we will get false. So Boolean expressions evaluate to true or false. That's all they do. All right. Now let's get into the conditional statement. So let me set up the scenario for our first if statement or conditional statement based on some conditions. So I'm going to say, let's just establish some variables. So I'm going to say x is equal to 0, and we'll say y is equal to 5. All right. So now we want to ask, is x less than or equal to or greater than 5, and we're going to do that now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the if statement. So I'm going to say if x is less than y, I'm going to use my colon, and I'm going to say print true. All right, so let's talk about this now. Let's go ahead and just run it first, and click and run. And we get true because x is less than 5. It's like saying, hold on, let me get rid of this. Make sure that my AI is off. Okay, good. All right, so it's like saying that x or 0 is less than 5, which is true. Now, this is the structure of the conditional statement. In this case, the if statement is if, which is the key word, and then you put the condition here, and then if this condition is true, you execute what's in here. So we call this the do something area. So this will only execute if it's true. And so when we ran it before, it actually is true. All right. Now let's make it false. Okay, so I'm going to make it false, and watch what happens. Well, think about it. What do you think would happen? Well, let's see. So if we run it, well, I didn't get any results here. So what could be the problem? Well, everything is perfect. Everything works fine. It is doing exactly what we want it to do. But again, when this is not true, this will not execute. Now, this can work in many scenarios, but in other cases, you always want to have your program give some feedback or some sort of feedback. And so in this case, we're going to put an else statement, okay? And this else statement will cover any other condition that's not true. So I'm going to say print, and I'm going to say false. All right. So now we're going to get some feedback regardless of whatever happens here. All right. So we're saying x is greater than y. And so we're saying 0 is greater than 5, which is not true. So this should print because this will not execute because it's not true. So let's go ahead and run it. And there we go. We get false. Okay. Now that is pretty much the essence of a conditional statement, but I do want to point out a few things with the kind of the overall structure of the conditional statement. So the first thing is the if and the else. So notice that they turn to blue. That means they are keywords. You cannot use those as variables or anything because they're keywords and they're reserved. The condition and then the colon, and then also keep in mind that we have, just like we have in functions, we have an indent. So this is no longer inside of the function. This is inside of, of the conditional statement. This as well. So whatever you put inside of a conditional, whether it's the if part or the else, it needs to be indented. Okay, so that's an important point here. So if I were to do this, like if I were going to just move this over here, you can see it's already doesn't like that. So, and let's look at the error. It says expect an indented block after else statement. So what it's essentially telling you is, hey, whenever you write an else statement, I expect some code down there. That's what Python is telling you. So let's go ahead and run it. And then again, that was the error that we got. All right. All right. Now let's talk about another statement. And this statement is the Elif. Okay. We want to cover the Elif statement. All right. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to test multiple conditions. Okay. So let me set this up first. Let me get this back correct. And then let's set up a Z. And let's set that to that. And so we want to cover multiple conditions. And just to make this really simple, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to say equals equals. So what I'm really asking is x equal to y. Let's run this and let's see what runs on this case. So I'm going to click here and we get false. All right. So that looks good. Now let's say we wanted to test if another condition. We don't have to write another if condition. We just couldn't just go ahead and write elif. Okay, and elif allows us to test multiple conditions. So what I could do here is that I could say elif, let's say x is, let's make this, let me see, greater than z. Okay. So let's look at this. Oh, we need to put print. We're going to say true, but we'll say elif. Elif. Okay. So we'll say that just so that we know which one is printing, and then I'll just call this one if. And then if it's false, we'll just run this as false. All right. So, and let me put my colon there. And so now what we're saying is that if this condition is not true, go ahead and skip this and then ask, is this condition true? So is this condition true? You're going to print this. And if none of these are true, you're going to print this. All right, so let's see what prints here. All right, so we still get false. So let's actually make this one print. So let's make this one true. So because none of these are true. So it went back to the default of else. So that's a good thing. So let's actually make this one print. So we know that 0 is not equal to 10. So that's good. And then we know here, so x is greater than, which is not true. So let's make it less than. So we're going to say basically what we're saying is 10 is less than, 0 is less than 10. So this one should print and then this one is not going to execute. So let's go ahead and run it again. And we get true elif. Okay, so that basically says that this was not true, this executed, and then this ended up not executing because this is true. So whenever this is executed, it just breaks out. All right, let's do another one. So we can actually do multiple ones. Now notice that when I hit the return button, you don't want to make a mistake of putting the elif here. Okay, it has to be outside, because if we did it here, which we could do, we can put another if statement, we can do certain things, but that is inside of the elif part, so we don't want that. So what we can do is we'll do elif, and we'll say, let's make this elif print. So I'm going to say if I'm just going to do the opposite, is greater than x. All right, print we'll say true, and then we'll say Elif number 2. All right. So what we need to do in order, well, actually just run it and let's see what this does. Okay. Because we're not going to get what I wanted, but I just want to show you. So in this case, it says true Elif. Now notice that this is true, and we get the Elif. We don't get Elif2. So the reason why is because this is true, and it just basically exits out. So let's go ahead and make this false. So I'll just change this. Actually, I'll just do that, and that should do it. And then it should be 2, and then we're going to make this one true. So I'm sorry, equals. And so this is going to be true. Let me see, Z, no, I'm sorry, we had it like that. So Z is greater than X, which looks good. So this should print. So let's go ahead and print. And we'll go run, boom, and there it is. So that is the Elif true. So we just ran that second Elif. So again, in this case, let me explain. This is not true. This is not true, but this is true. So I'm going to print this. I'm going to skip this. Now, what we can also do is let's just go ahead and make all of them false. So these are all going to be false. They're not going to be true, and this should print. And so let's see what happens. Let me go ahead and run it, and now we get false. Okay, so that is the essence of a conditional statement. In the next video, we're going to cover some additional topics here, but I wanted to cover the basics of conditional statements. And in this video, we covered the if statement, we covered the Elif, we covered else. We also talked about the importance of indentation and what's inside of the conditional statement, and we also talked about the importance of this colon here, okay, because if we left that out, we're going to get an error. So that is kind of the structure. So I will see you in the next video where we'll kind of extend the conversation on conditional statements. And if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do so. See you in the next video.